often blends with other genres such as sci-fi, supernatural, or post-apocalyptic. With that said, the word romance doesn't usually spring to mind when reflecting on the genre. Even though horror can revolve around young couples, snuggling up together on the couch to watch a zombfest or a creature feature isn't everybody's idea of an ideal date. But in a way, the two genres can, and often do, go hand in hand, since they both explore soul-stirring feelings such as love, obsession, and heartbreak. And with Valentine's Day looming on the horizon, now is the perfect time to check out these romantic horrors. So with that in mind, I'm Ellie for What Culture, and let's take a look at the best horror movies to watch on Valentine's Day. Starting with Sightseers. Directed by Ben Wheatley, Sightseers follows a doting couple, Tina and Chris, who bond through their eccentric interests and disconnection from the rest of the world. Based on their playful conversations, gooey-eyed stares, and rampant sex, it's obvious the two adore each other. But there's another reason why Tina and Chris are so close. They're both killers. While the socially awkward duo embark on a caravan holiday across the English countryside, they attack and slaughter nearly everybody they encounter, either due to delusional paranoia or on a whim. There are times when they come across as a regular couple, making it more horrifying when they nonchalantly commit a hit and run or toss a passerby off a cliff. There are unmistakable moments of growth and warmth between Tina and Chris, so their massacre doesn't always come across as mindless bloodshed. In a sick way, they feel closer while conducting murders. Other times, they suppress their killer instinct, hoping to find a different way to make each other happy. Spontaneous. In Brian Duffield's directorial debut, senior high schooler Caitlin finds her life turning upside down after her classmates start spontaneously combusting. Just to add to the complication, she falls for fellow student Dylan immediately after. Despite the grotesque premise, Spontaneous plays Caitlin's predicament for laughs, so it never feels conventionally scary when teens are popping like balloons. And yet the explosive drama is incredibly heartfelt and tragic. There's zero warning when somebody is about to burst, leaving viewers in a constant state of tension. At first, watching their classmates go kaboom inspires Caitlin and Dylan to seize the day and live like there's no tomorrow. But as the combustions continue, the class's numbers whittle down to a fraction of what it once was, indicating the budding couple will eventually be next. Catherine Langford and Charlie Plummer have the most effortless chemistry, which makes their tender moments anxiety-inducing since we know either of them could die horribly in the blink of an eye. Although the underrated teen comedy is hilarious, don't be surprised if you spontaneously burst into tears during the hard-hitting moments. Together. In Michael Shank's first feature, struggling couple Tim and Millie find themselves being physically drawn together after coming into contact with a mysterious liquid. As their bodies start to fuse together, the hostility and resentment between the two reaches its peak. Even though Together sounds anything but romantic, its themes are tied directly to common insecurities that couples have. It cleverly explores separation anxiety, attachment issues, and setting boundaries physically and metaphorically. Although the themes could have been heavy-handed, they are dealt with in a way that feels poignant and earned. But Together is still a body horror film at the end of the day. Curl up with your partner and watch Together if you dare, but be prepared for things to get grisly. Lisa Frankenstein. Helmed by Zelda Williams and written by Diablo Cody, Lisa Frankenstein is a neon-soaked rom-com adapted from Mary Shelley's classic novel. Catherine Newton portrays Lisa, a misunderstood teen who only finds peace while in the cold embrace of a Victorian-era corpse she accidentally resurrected. Look, we've all been there. Not only is it bold to adapt Frankenstein for the modern age, but it's extra risky to reinvent the sci-fi tale as a romantic coming-of-age horror. And yet, Lisa Frankenstein fully delivers, since the story feels current while still entrenched in the source material. It also updates the Frankenstein lore effectively, like how the creature is regenerated with a tanning bed instead of a lightning bolt. Cole Sprouse has a lot of fun as the bumbling creature, using physical comedy to portray the character both as a tragic monster and an awkward boyfriend. Though Lisa's bond with the mute ghoul could have been a one-note gag, it blossoms into a heartwarming but bloody love story. Despite the bizarre circumstances, Lisa and the creature's relationship is relatable, since it's cute, weird, messy, and downright nonsensical. Only lovers left alive. Jim Jarmusch's gothic fantasy revolves around a vampiric couple, Adam and Eve, who try to make sense of their place in the world. Although it can be challenging to depict undead bloodsuckers in a sympathetic light, the way Adam and Eve grapple with boredom, social tedium, and mankind's self-destruction feels notably human. Even while discussing life as immortal creatures of the night, the couple's words are sure to resonate with viewers due to their profound kinship with one another. Adam and Eve only murder one victim on screen, so it's easy to momentarily forget the lead characters are ancient monsters. Even when their devilish side is recognised, you still empathise with the ghoulish couple, since they're driven by the same passions as humanity, such as art, music, and inner peace. In many ways, their love is more intense than anything regular people can experience, since Adam and Eve have been caught in each other's orbit for centuries, outliving entire civilizations and empires. Though they often come across as morose and conflicted, there are times when it's hard not to envy them. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. Despite being a horror comedy through and through, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is surprisingly touching. When the titular hillbillies rescue an unconscious college student called Allison, her boyfriend Chad tries to rescue her, assuming Tucker and Dale have kidnapped her. Eli Craig's slasher parody is superbly written and directed, but it's the way the characters defy horror stereotypes that allows it to endure as a cult classic. In any regular scenario, Chad would be the knight in shining armor who slaughters the villainous Tucker and Dale so he can reunite with the love of his life. But that isn't the case here. Allison is initially skeptical of Dale's intentions, but warms to his kind demeanor. Dale doesn't seem like ideal boyfriend material, but wins Allison's heart, proving she favors compassion over Chad's superficial personality. Although Tucker's banter with Dale is superb, there's no doubt the lovable bumpkin's connection with Allison is the backbone of the story. Bones and all. A cannibalistic love story sounds like an oxymoron that should be devoid of any sincere romance. And yet Bones and All works because it shows how the most screwed up people are shackled by the need to feel loved. Luca Guadagnino's road trip drama focuses on Marin, a young woman who's unable to control her flesh-chomping urges. After encountering fellow cannibal Lee, Marin believes she's found her kindred spirit, oblivious to what fate has in store for them. Even though Marin and Lee are tied to a barbaric passion, viewers find themselves getting wrapped up in their adventure, knowing nobody understands them save for each other. When Marin abandons a self-proclaimed eater called Sully, it highlights that she desires a stronger connection and will not be defined purely by her unique dining habits. You get so invested in Lee and Marin's will they won't they story, making it more shocking when it cuts to the lovebirds embracing their inner animal. It's messed up, but the pair's savagery is the only thing guiding them through their struggles. Warm bodies. Romeo and Juliet has been retold so often, it was only a matter of time before it received a zombie adaptation. Which brings us to Warm Bodies. In this zom-rom-com, a flesh-gorging ghoul called R finds himself falling for a human girl, Julie. Rather than being a surface-level adaptation of William Shakespeare's work, Warm Bodies hits the key beats. R kills Julie's boyfriend, echoing how Romeo slaughters Juliet's cousin, Tybalt. Julie's father is revealed to be the leader of an undead killing resistance group, much like how Romeo and Juliet's families are sworn enemies. Even though the premise sounds like a joke, it highlights how love can break any barrier, even between life and death. Finding the humanity in a borderline mindless zombie must be tough, but Nicholas Hoult makes R a sympathetic character, even when it's established that, yes, he has gorged on many a brain. The way Julie pushes R to get in touch with his former humanity is palpable, as it conveys the power of compassion. Most importantly, Warm Bodies reminds audiences that romance can thrive in the most unexpected places, so it's likely to leave anybody smiling long after the credits roll. Heart Eyes. The Valentine's Day themed slasher centers around a killer donned in a heart-eye mask that specializes in butchering couples. When he mistakes colleagues Ali and Jay as a loving twosome, the pair have to convince the masked lunatic they're not together. Heart Eye's tight script repeatedly mocks and subverts rom-com tropes, creating a playful tone that never undercuts the stakes. Despite the fact Jay and Ali have a ton of animosity towards each other, their behaviour is amusingly misconstrued as flirtation. This compounds the killer's motivation, which in turn drives a further wedge between Jay and Ali, heightening the terror and comedy. Even though Heart Eyes has its tongue firmly in cheek, The gore is absolutely brutal. Being the devil's advocate, this prologue serves as a warning for how messy things are going to get. If you and your significant other have no issue with tire irons being rammed down victims' mouths and bodies being ripped asunder, Heart Eyes should be a real treat for you. And finally, Spring. Spring is one of the few films that perfectly toes the line between horror and romance. In the dark drama, a grieving man, Evan, falls for a mysterious woman, Louise, while abroad in Italy. At first, there's nothing to suggest this story will veer into horror territory. Even the title sounds deceptively harmless. Evan and Louise's relationship unfolds through quiet conversations, slow dancing, and long walks, allowing genuine intimacy to form before the horror comes into play. The chemistry between the two feels natural and grounded, making the otherworldly revelations hit like a truck. Although fantastical, Louise's plight is understandable, since she believes she'll never be loved for who she really is. So when her identity is ultimately revealed, it's more heart-wrenching than terrifying. But viewers don't just see the dilemma through Louise's eyes, but through Evan's as well. After realizing his girlfriend isn't who she claims to be, Evan must decide whether to abandon his other half or accept her for what she really is. Despite the monstrous elements, Spring is a deeply human story, since it highlights the sacrifices people will make to feel a real connection with somebody.